welcome back. I haven't done one of these in a while. I've uploaded a few play no says, just kind of showing my progress, but I haven't really spoken to the changes I've made, why I've made them, some design decisions I've been kind of juggling, or really showing off like how I've implemented some of what I've implemented. So today's video is going to be a little longer because I'm going to try to go through all of that as quickly as I can. But if you've watched any of my previous videos, you know that I am a verbose bastard. And I struggle with brevity. So with all that being said, some of the big changes I've made is I've started implementing C++. I know I said I wasn't going to do that until I was basically finished making this game. With the intention of being like, get everything. Hello, what are we doing? Why are we opening up 2 instances of Unreal? I have a feeling. Don't just go away. I think I might have goofed up when I got Visual Studio going. Speaking of which, I said I wasn't going to start refactoring until we kind of had this game finished, but I had some bugs in particular with my music player that were going to take us long to refactor in blueprints as they were in C++. And look, I know that Unreal's intended workflow is that, roughly speaking, tools get made in C++, get implemented in Blueprint. And that's fine. Blueprint's a lot faster in a lot of ways. I find the visual nature of it be easier to read and faster to implement. You don't have the header file to deal with. You don't deal with memory allocation and pointers and optimization and all that. You just kind of do the thing and just try to execute good coding practices along the way. But with that being said, C++, man, it's just a good skill to have and to keep engaging with and kind of keep the rough edges on or off. So I just went ahead and built my music player in C++ until I get all the way into this thing, and then I realize, fade in and fade out is already a feature in code. That's part of the audio component. And so I was really just reinventing the wheel. Always read your documentation, kids. But anyway, yeah, so I started implementing some Visual Studio stuff. I have opened up Maya, and I will not even call this a proxy house. I would call these gray boxes with windows. Not even windows, with holes in them. Literally, it's just a box. That's all it is. That the character can walk in. And it's really just to help me start laying out the town and kind of start figuring out, where people are going to be, where certain shops are going to be. Because every time I do a playthrough of my game loop, something I keep running into is that we have these long stretches of time in which the player doesn't have anything to do. Like, the best thing to do is just to go to bed. Just a few hours after you've woken up. And there's a number of things that will help mitigate this. One, if every verb you interact with isn't within 5 yards of the bed, right? That would kind of pad time out a little bit. But I don't want to just have like a game where all the content's just padding. But I do need places for the player to go and see and explore. Make this feel like a place that exists where people do things and live, and building a town's just a part of that. So that's going to pad out some time. I have some notes here. I have gone through, added more menus. Adding menus now is actually a relatively fast process. I have enough of my UI infrastructure built that basically I just, once it's laid out, because all those widgets are built and because I have all that underlying code just ready to go, it's smooth sailing. I could just throw a menu up under an hour. Brand new menu in under an hour. So shops are fast to make, and it works pretty well. But I do need to go through and do another visual unification pass. What I really need to do, this is actually going to be the theme of a lot of what I talk about today, is do some really in-depth research and planning on what I want the UI to look like, what I want menus to look like, what I want the user flow through these menus to look and feel like, just to have a unified vision in the UI, since this is turning into a pretty UI heavy game, which is not what I intended. But every time I do a playthrough, I find myself thinking a menu would make this more readable and more comprehensible, and it will lower the barrier to understanding what is happening. So almost every interaction with a character is going to involve a menu. And this actually brings me to something I've been thinking about a lot lately, which is unintended design changes, and just the way small decisions have percolated throughout the entire design vision of this game. So when I first started this game, what I said to myself was, what is the most minimum and fastest version of Harvest Moon or Stardew Valley that I can make? And I know Unreal, I know 3D, I'm not a 2D artist, I'm not a 2D programmer. I know how to do things in 3D and Unreal, but I haven't exercised those skills in 2D, so I said, okay, fine. Stick with the devils I know. These are the devils I know. This is how I'm going to make this game. And just making this a 3D game has changed so much about the design decisions involving some pretty basic and obvious stuff. Take interaction, for instance. So if you look at Stardew Valley, the way interaction works is that you have an action button. Your button, it says, do thing with item in hand. So it's an action that's influenced by two contexts. The first context is your item in hand. The second context is the object in the square in front of you, because Stardew Valley is built on a grid. So the tile in front of you, when you interact, what relationship does that have with the item in hand? So if you have a berry, food, in hand, your character, first of all, they hold it above their head like this. And this is great for a 2D game, right? Because you can see, tells the player this is the item you have in hand. It changes your silhouette. It is clear. It is readable. You look at your character and you see the verb you're going to engage with. I have a berry. When I use berry, one of two things will happen. I will eat it. Well, I will get a confirmation menu to eat it, I think. I think in Stardew Valley you get a confirmation menu, and in Harvest Moon you don't. Which causes problems. Come back to that later. Excuse me. I either eat it or I give it to the person in front of me. This is, if I have a hoe in hand, I swing the hoe. And then whatever relationship the hoe has with the tile in front of me, that interaction occurs. So if it's soil, you till the soil. If it's regular dirt, you dig up the dirt. If it's got little worm dudes sticking out of it, you get the artifact that's in the dirt. If there's a farm animal, it hits the farm animal and makes them unhappy. I don't think anything happens to crops, whereas if you have a scythe, that has its own interactions. But the advantage to this is the player has one button to press. I will be right back. There's now a hole in my bathroom ceiling. What was I saying? Oh yeah, design decision. So again, 2D, holding an item above the character's head makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense for the art style too. It's cutesy, a little bit abstracted. It's fine. The player only has the one button that says do thing. They don't have to think about different inputs or different options to engage with the task. They just put the item in their hand. They're saying, I want to do thing with this item. And then they just push the one button. And it's great. It's very simple, lowers the barrier to entry. And I'm sure that has a lot to do with the success that Harvest Moon series and Stardew Valley has seen. With my game, however, with Dr. Farmer, holding an item above your head, I mean, could do it, and you could do it with an art style where it doesn't look ridiculous. But there's a number of things this game does that is different. In particular with the doctoring side of this game, where it's a lot of look at the menus and diagnosing people and creating medicine to come up with a cure. So my one thing is going to be this menu system. So rather than having an item that's in your hand and you walk around, as a matter of fact, in the very first version of this game, that's closer to what you saw. I still have it. Here, we'll just go ahead and boot this up so you can see. You can see in the top right hand corner of my screen, we already have this concept of item in hand and the type of that item in hand. And that's how tilling the earth works, and that's how interacting with the sick NPCs was working, so that I had to put the right medicine in my hand. But even in my play no saves, you see that even I, as someone with the curse of knowledge, still struggle to put the correct item in my hand to do the thing I wanted to do. There's a lot of cycling around. Even with only 3 or 4 items, I would skip over my item and say, shit, I gotta go back and get the other item. That sucks. Whereas having a menu pop up that lets me say, okay, I can now see all of my options and select the one option I want and engage with that. Works a little bit better. This does mean things like I'm going to have to really think hard about inventory. I have a lot of very strong opinions about inventory in games. I don't like inventory bloat. I hate games that just say, here are 30,000 items, a third of which all do the exact same thing. I hate that. I hate games that limit your inventory by saying if you carry too much, your mobility is reduced. Any game mechanic that tells the player to stop playing or to play less, I hate that. It sucks. Skyrim is very guilty of the latter. Skyrim and Zelda are both guilty of inventory bloat. Zelda's actually guilty of a lot of inventory sins. I love the Zelda series, one of my favorite series of all time, but inventory is among its greatest weaknesses, if not just its greatest weakness. My God, for a game that so much of its gameplay relies on you having a particular item in hand, it has you spend way too much time in the menu getting to that item. And it just stops the flow of gameplay. It's a problem that's existed since the very first Zelda game, and it has persisted through every Zelda game to the most recent, Tears of the Kingdom. It still has that problem. And yes, it is a problem. I think the game is worse for it. But with that being said, I too am creating a game that is very focused on inventory. It's very focused on what items you have. You can't heal people without the right medicine. You can't make the right medicine without the right plants. You can't grow the right plants without the right seeds. You gotta go buy seeds. It's a lot of inventory going on. So I need to come up with, I need to plan system in which I know I'm going to be spending a lot of time with menus. Half the game is a menu. Fine. That's the intent. This is not an action-oriented game. This is a very... it's going to be kind of a cozier game, but it's slower paced, and it's very... Let's sit down, let's relax, let's read a little. Let's get to know the people in the world sort of game. So menus aren't working against that vision. But with that being said, scrolling through dozens of items would be working against that vision. We're not here to play the inventory management game. We are here to play the person management game. We're here to interact with the people of this world, not the items. Items are just a means to an end. So that is something I need to sit down and plan out. Planning is another thing I need to talk about. So planning and documentation. Because for this game, I haven't been doing documentation. I have been kind of trying out something that over the past couple of years has been preached to me a lot, which is don't spend all of your time designing on paper. Get it on stick as quick as you can to see if it works or not. And I've had mixed results. I get it. I get the philosophy. It's not a wrong or incorrect philosophy. But it has its weaknesses. Its strengths are, you get on stick very quick and you see what works and what doesn't. You can see some emergent features and emergent engagement elements that you didn't necessarily plan for and you probably couldn't necessarily plan for. But on the other side, without planning, without documentation, you end up with a lot of half-baked, kind of flimsy features, which is something I keep running into. Like I'm doing a lot of, it's most prevalent in the UI, right? And part of that is because I'm not really a UI designer. I don't have strong visual aptitude. So it's even more important that I spend more time planning for that. But you get a lot of that, and you find yourself constantly going back and repolishing and repolishing and repolishing because you didn't take the time to slow down, stop, plan it out, and do it right the first time. So my conclusion is that when you're making anything, you're going to have this massive chunk of time in which you are not necessarily producing something new. You either put it at the front end, in which that massive chunk of time is in planning and in documenting, writing things out, or you put it at the back end, where that is your tech debt, your refactoring, your repolishing. You want that chunk of time to be as small as possible because you want to get as much content out into the world, out into the game, out on the screen, out on the stick. And the more time or the less time that you spend with that massive chunk, the beginning or end of your process, the more time and resources you're going to have to put your content out there. I am getting stuff on stick quickly has helped me keep my scope and scale small. It's helped me keep me from taking on more than I can handle. The problem with the blue sky design is that you want to do all the things, so you plan for all the things, and then you start working and like, oh my god, I have more things than there's time. So you have to start shoving stuff and seeing what you get done as quickly as you can. Especially in my case, only engaging with those tasks that I feel like engaging with. has helped me keep things relatively simple. But it also means that I have some haphazard features. I have some gaps in the loop. Like I said, the big problem I want to resolve is this period of time in which the player isn't doing anything. Uh, I've planted my seeds. I'm just waiting for those to grow. I don't have anyone to heal right now. I've hired the warriors I need to hire. I'm out of reputation, so I can't buy more seeds. Maybe I'm out of energy, so I couldn't till the soil to plant seeds anyway. Don't have anything to do. It's been suggested to me to implement combat. I don't want to. And it's nothing against combat. I actually, next game I make, I want to be an action combat game, kind of Zelda-esque in intent and style. But for this game, I don't feel like combat fits. Combat exists in Stardew Valley, and I don't think it works. I think combat's actually one of the worst parts of Stardew Valley. I mean, well designed in the sense that like they maintain that you have the one button that does the thing, and what the thing is changes based on what's in your hand. Like combat works exactly like farming, which it works exactly like gift giving. Fuck yeah, great, love that, smart. Combat sucks. It's not an engaging and interesting part of the game, partly because I just don't think the enemies are made to be interesting or engaging. But also, it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Like, you're a farmer. Why are you going out into these catacombs to fight monsters? Like, that doesn't... That's an opinion. That's not like a design philosophy fact. That's just an opinion. What's the phrase? Reasonable minds can disagree. But for this game in particular, because of the world it's based on and the lore it's based on, if I, the player, as Dr. Farmer, can fight, why am I hiring warriors to do the fighting for me? I don't like that. The role the player plays in this world, in this city, is the farmer, the medicine man. He's the shaman of the village, right? He's the one everyone goes to for spiritual healing, physical healing, emotional healing, advice and wisdom. The player, I want the player to spend time thinking about the people in this world, engaging with them, and engaging with their problems. And yeah, I'm starting off with people are sick, make them medicine. Monsters are attacking, hire warriors. And there's a third thing, and this is the last big system I need to build for this game. And the third thing is going to be that relationship quest system where these people have independent storylines, independent problems, and you, the player, will work through those problems with them, and you, the player, will have an impact in these people's lives. And you'll build a relationship with these people through that, like you see in Harvest Moon or Stardew Valley, except instead of giving people berries until they want to marry you, you kind of have more of a quest style interaction where they're like, hey, yeah, okay, sure, I'm sick, but also, I have this dream of having this kind of, I don't know, fucking statue in my house, and but man, there's no one in our village who can make a statue like this. So well, and someone else is like, oh, I have a dream of being a great artisan, but I don't have anyone to train me. And so you're like, hey, I know what to do here. Let me get these two people talking that train you up, and then I get you two talking, and oh, look at it, everyone's happy. That's probably not literally what I'm going to do, but that's the idea of what I want to do with this. The good and simpler version of that. But so yeah, populate the town with NPCs who are named and have their own little linear stories that you can interact with. Mostly linear stories. I want some player choice and engagement in there. So that's a lot of yakking for everything. Let me get some audio going so we can get to the music and we can talk a little bit about that. Okay. When I played it earlier, I didn't see or didn't hear any audio. I'm not sure why that was. Oh, that's interesting. I guess it's time to do a hot reload. So this also is one of the things that makes blueprints a little faster. I'm sorry, working in blueprints faster than working in C++. Is, you know, when you're doing blueprints, you just make some changes, hit compile, move on, because it's a scripting language. Whereas with C++, you have this. Like if I change one variable, I still have to do a hut. Forgot the word, hot reload, recompile, whatever. And no matter how small the change is, this is going to keep being a thing. So that's something else to consider when you're working on your own solo projects is how much time do you want to spend in C++ versus Blueprint. I can make this whole game in just Blueprints. There's nothing I have planned out that requires C++ support. But I'm engaging with C++ for the experience and the self-education, just to get that skill built up. So, well, that's doing this thing. I guess I'll keep talking while it's still thinking. Let me look at my notes and just talk a little bit more about what we have planned, some of the problems I'm running into. Art is a whole thing. I'm not going to touch art in a meaningful way until the game is basically done. I might make some proxy stuff, including some proxy animations, but I'm not going to make a legitimate attempt at art until the game is made. So this game is going to be ugly and not make a lot of sense visually for a very long time. But some of the bugs I'm seeing, which you'll see when I do a playthrough, it's my battle report. It's squished. It's hard to read. The battle report is, you go to bed and it tells you, this many warriors were injured, these many monsters survived, these many plants were destroyed, these many monsters will come in the morning. I just need to redo that UI entirely. My diagnosis screen, if you watch my play no say, you'll see that and you'll see what I mean. It's just a lot of text on screen all at once. I want to break those into tabs. And I'll show you what I mean by that. If this ever finishes, my God, it has never taken this long. But again, I have a lot of stuff just kind of going on all at once. So, let's see here. Yeah, unifying my button appearance. My buttons don't even all look the same right now. Oh, common UI input actions. Okay. Common UI is both great and terrible. Once you learn Common UI, which is a UI plugin for Unreal, once you learn it, everything's so quick, everything's so easy. But learning it is a bitch. The documentation for it is awful. the words they use to describe things don't always mean what you think they mean. And there's a lot of features that aren't made clear. And input action is a good example of this. So when you make a button, when you put it on screen, you can choose to associate that button with an input from your gamepad or keyboard or mouse. If you do this, that is going to supersede highlighting that button and pressing confirm. So what I mean by this, let's just say you have a menu that says confirm and cancel, and that's it. Without input action, you can navigate to confirm, press your A button or X button or whatever, and it would activate that button's logic. You can navigate to the cancel button, press confirm on the cancel button, and it would activate the cancel button's logic. Alternatively, you can choose to associate these buttons with the input action. B on your cancel, A on your confirm. If you do this, no matter what you have highlighted, whatever button you press is the action that will transpire. So if you have your A button mapped to confirm and your B button mapped to cancel, and you're using input actions, if you navigate to cancel and press A, you press confirm, the confirm logic is what is going to transpire, even though you have cancel highlighted. This is not clearly communicated. It took me so long to understand that's what was happening. Especially since almost every single tutorial you might look up and every single document you might find talks about input actions, and it talks about how to set that up. And so you will set it up and then wonder why half your buttons aren't working. Well, that's why. So when you're using Common UI, think about how you want the player to interact with the menu. If you want it to be associated with a specific input, or if you want it to be associated with what the player has selected. For this game, I want the player to select their buttons and confirm the button and just have whatever is highlighted be the discrete action. And I say highlighted and not selected. Going back to words not meaning what we think they mean with the Common UI, selected is a very specific word in Common UI. If I'm not mistaken, it's referring to radio buttons. So, you know, those little circles, and when you select it, it fills in the little circle. That's selected. That is the use case for the word selected. So I used the word highlighted. I think Common UI uses a different word. I want to say in focus, but even that isn't necessarily accurate. But in focus, highlighted. Okay. So we should be able to play now. Let me make sure that this actually did what it said it did. And it has. Fantastic. I'm just changing my balance here. Whoops. Where we at? There we are. How's that? I'll turn it down some more. Sorry. Not to troubleshoot on the fly. Here we go. Now I think, oh, sorry, I just put my controller on my cat. I'm sorry, dude. Say this is music I wrote for this game. something a little chill and atmospheric. So these guys haven't changed since I first made them. You can press A or B to progress, and have two different buttons to do that. Again, common UI is interesting. So here we have our little Port City Warrior shop. So when we hire warriors, I have an array of names to choose from. And so when I hired them, it creates these warriors and gives them names. So we have Tail and Luana on the field. And Tail and Luana exist with 1 HP for now because I want to see them get injured to just engage with that part of the loop quicker. But they have a level, they have experience. You could talk to them on the field. So the diagnosis screen, boom, immediately. That's a lot. That's a lot to take in out the gate, and it's not presented very neatly. So what I want to do with this, and if I do like my buttons down here, I like how those look. That's what I want to go with later on. Also, notice the music change? This is a new track. Night has fallen, so now we get night music. Music fades in, music fades out. Anyway, so I have 3 discrete boxes here. I'm going to turn each of these into a tab where the player can press left bumper or right bumper to tab through these 3 screens. And this is also a screen that we're going to use for the NPCs. So if I click apply medicine, by the way, it will then give me this, list of medicines I have in my inventory that I could potentially use. So we're going to exit. And again, it just pulls up that character's information. Let's go to my seed shop. And here we can buy our seeds. So this is actually something else. Where I was talking about a lack of unification in my menus. Buying seeds gives me this menu, and then this menu. And which this isn't bad necessarily. It keeps things discreet. And the player, it will mitigate player mistakes. By doing this, the player's like, I can buy one thing at a time, and I can only buy the thing I want to buy. Then I come back here, and whereas here, just out the gate, I have just units to hire. It's one screen. Now you can only hire one kind of unit. So, and that's how I ended up here. Is that this is more like the second screen from the seeds. But it's still, I'm still saying, here, player, here's all the information. And choose how many you want to hire. Versus here, I'm like, hey, here's all the information. Cool, how many do you want to buy? 2 discrete screens, 2 discrete actions. The convention would be to have a plus and minus between price and inventory, or maybe even between inventory and total price. But have that plus and minus here on the screen for each item, and then at the bottom say confirm or purchase. If I did that, it would be more consistent with my warrior screen. I think it would also lead to the player potentially accidentally screwing themselves, which is something I want to mitigate. I don't want the player to, music changed again. I don't want the player to accidentally screw themselves. But I think with a confirmation screen, it should be fine. After all, the player screws themselves plenty in Harvest Moon and Stardew Valley. I don't know how many times I wanted to give a character a gift and ended up using it instead because the character walked away right at the last second, or the inverse happened and I ate, or I gave a character a gift I wanted to eat, or I accidentally gave a character a gift I hated when that isn't what I wanted to do. Because even though you have confirmation menus on eating an item, you don't have a confirmation menu on gifting an item. Confirmation menus, I like those. This sucks. I don't have any ingredients, but I need to completely redesign my cauldron. It's bad. It's just bad. When I have ingredients, matter of fact, let me go ahead and give let's go ahead and get the player ingredients, right? VP player. Boy howdy. We're going to go to my inventory where, oops, nope, those are functions. Let's get some plants in here. Cool. All right. So, yeah, first of all, you already see a bug, right? Why is that button sticking? I don't know. But that sucks. So I've hit A on unroot. Now nothing is selected. Where's my cursor? I don't know. Why do all three? It looks like I either have all three or none of my plants selected here. This track is really loud. Hold on. My God. That's a very loud track. I don't know if the capture is as loud. I've tried turning it down, but man. But okay, so I start moving this around, and the background keeps resizing to the text length, which isn't great. The second ingredient still just says ingredient instead of showing what I have selected. I don't like this. I don't like this for a number of reasons. There's everything I just stated, but also, so doing this ingredient plus ingredient equals item, it is great for experimenting and putting things together and discovering new recipes. I think, so there are two ways I can approach this. I can say either A, you, the player, you're Dr. Farmer. You know your plants, you know your medicine. You already have the internal library of medicines you can make and how to make them. And so, instead of selecting ingredients, I would just have the player select a medicine to make, and they would see which ingredients are required to make that medicine. The advantage to this is it will be faster, easier to read. When the player does a diagnosis of a character, they would be able to say, okay, cool, I need this medicine. Let me go make that medicine. Oh, okay, now that I'm making that medicine, I now know which plants I need. Let me go get those plants. There's a logical series of steps there the player can take, and they will be led from one to the other. Versus, the downside is there's no sense of discovery. The player won't discover new medicines this way. They won't be able to experiment and come up with new cures. That's the downside, that's the pro side. If I go with the other design, where the player can mix and match ingredients, can discover new recipes, that's interesting. We like discovery. We like experimentation. The downside is that if I go to a character, I'm like, oh, they're sick to their stomach and they need a medicine I've never seen before. I don't know what plants to grow to make that medicine. So I will spend a lot of time frustrated because I don't have any lead. I would have to say, well, what plants do I have? What plants can I grow? How long do I have to wait before I can engage in this loop? And that could be interesting for some people if I do it right. But I think it is going to be far more likely for players to be frustrated. I would prefer to give players knowledge and let them know what to do and how to do it. And we'll leave mystery and discovery for other areas of this game, in particular, the quest/relationship system. So, just talking through that, I think I've settled on, instead of giving a list of ingredients, I will just give a list of medicines. And you select the medicine, it shows you you're going to use one of this and one of this. Do you have this many? Do you want to do this? You know. So that would be that. I've begun laying out the town because it will take time to walk from point A to point B. The player will be able to kind of see the things I want to see, have townspeople sprinkled throughout, maybe collectibles for the player to uncover and find. And let's see here. Yep, we've got an NPC over here just to kind of give a sense of scale. And like I said, like this is just, it's literally just a box the player could walk in. Literally thrown together 5 minutes of Maya. There's nothing here. But it kind of like maybe this is the, seed shop because it's closest to your farm. And because your time is limited, you want to hurry up, get to the seed shop, hurry up and get back. So like that might be the seed shop. And maybe the warriors are actually a little further away. Maybe they're on the other side of town. Or maybe even, so something I want to experiment with is the day-night cycle. I think I want to deny the player access to the farm during night because the monsters are attacking. The player doesn't need to be involved in all that. What Stardew Valley and Harvest Moon do at night, or after it gets to a certain time, they say you are exhausted, you pass out, you lose some money, and you wake up tired. Ouch. And that's not terrible. Kind of sucks though. It super sucks when you're on your farm and you're like at your doorstep. It's 2 a.m. You instantly pass out, and I'm like, come on, man. Like, I can stay awake for 24 hours if I have to, even after a hard day of work. Like, what the hell? But I do think there should be like a fatigue penalty for doing that. But because I also have these monsters that attack at night, I'm thinking about separating the farm from where the player actually resides. And I think the player's residence needs to be the hospital. So this separates your day-night cycle already. During the day, you're on your farm. You're hiring warriors. You are tilling the soil. You're planting seeds. You're harvesting crops. You're making medicine. In particular, just tilling, planting, harvesting. Night falls. A warrior comes to you and says, "Hey, Dr. Farmer, the monsters are stirring. They are attacking. Let's get you to safety." And you teleport to the city, if you're not already there. Cool. Well, now what? The city is where you would actually do most of your socializing. most of your doctoring, even. So I can actually show some of this right now. Let me just go hire a couple warriors. Cool. And we're going to go to sleep a few times. So, at night... Hello. Oh. Go to bed. I had a bug I had to fix. At night, you go to your hospital, farm, house, whatever. Let's get some monster sun filled. One monster come on morning. And it's also when you can treat your benched warriors. And what's a benched warrior? A benched warrior is a warrior who has been injured in battle. Where's my monster? My monster... I think I just need to Alright. I keep having bugs with my monster spawner. I think I just need to reformat from the ground up. Reformat? No, refactor that from the ground up. There's a monster. That's weird. Okay, how my monster spawns a -1. Whatever. We'll deal with that later. Alright, so a warrior was injured during a battle. Cool. So it's daytime now, but I want to show what you could do at night. So a warrior has been injured, which puts the warrior over here, and it shows, you know. Now, notice your menu here is different, right? You can chat with warrior, you can diagnose the patient, you can put for promotion. If you chat with warrior, that would actually engage with the relationship quest for the warrior. And just kind of build on that. Diagnose patient. You can see this information. You can see their injury is that they're bruised, and the treatment for that is a medicine wrap. And the only medicine I have in stock is a healing salve. Cool. And you can pay for promotion. This levels up your warriors. So you might already be thinking, wait, why can't I level up my warriors here? Why can't I talk with my warriors here? I can only diagnose them and apply medicine. Matter of fact, if I just applied some healing salve. Oh look, now they're fully healed. And I think I could even apply medicine. Yeah, so now they're fully healed, but he still needs the medicine wrap. So we can go make that real quick. This looks awful. That doesn't look good. But we've made a medicine wrap. Diagnose patient, apply medicine. And now they can go back to battle. So the idea is that a warrior on the field is they're working. They're like, I'm not here to chat. I'm not here. I'm a very disciplined member of the military. I'm not here to chat. I'm not here to play. I'm not here to talk about my life problems. I'm here to work. There are monsters right now waiting for nightfall. And when night falls, they become aggressive and they become vulnerable. So I'm just watching them and I'm watching the sky. But when they're injured, they're like, well, I'm benched. I have nothing better to do than to just exist. Let's talk about things. There's also not letting you level up a warrior until they're benched. Also kind of adds an element of strategy, right? A warrior who is leveled up can fight more monsters. But if you can't level them up until they're benched, that means that you're going to have to at least go a night with this warrior not doing anything. And that means you have to kind of like let your warrior get injured before you're allowed to level them up. Which is a tough decision to make, unless you're filthy rich. So there's some give and take there. I want to add more to this game where decisions aren't obvious. I'm a firm believer that in a game that if there is an obvious best choice, then it's not a choice at all. It is a chore. And I believe games are about players engaging with interesting consequences as a result of decisions they make. So, what choice is the player making when they go to heal a warrior? You're either going to fight for another night, or you're going to be out of commission with the opportunity to level up. Out of commission with the opportunity for me to build a relationship with you. Out of commission, not fighting monsters, not getting stronger, but I have all these other things I can engage with. So every sword needs two edges. And so that's part of what I'm doing with that. There's also we don't just have injuries, we also have ailments. Injuries and ailments. When you are injured, your chances of obtaining a new ailment increases. Now, you can only have one ailment and you can only have one injury, but you can have both. Having one increases your chances of getting the other. So, that makes some kind of sense, right? And yeah, your warriors can get sick without getting injured. They can get injured without getting sick. Your NPCs don't get injured, they only get sick. I should say your townsfolk. I would talk about some of the code I've written. I'll talk a little bit about the structure of this here. So this, hello. So this warrior, I call it a warrior bench. And you see I have all these little billboards, these little raptor billboards here. When a warrior is benched, they're placed on one of these raptors. Now, I could just put them at a random location on this platform, but I chose to have these points because when I build the farmhouse / hospital, when a warrior gets benched, I'm going to put them on a specific point in that building. And that point's going to do a number of things. One, it's going to have them a designated location that they sit at so they don't accidentally clip through other geometry. The player doesn't have to go like looking for them. But also, maybe the warrior sits in a chair. Maybe the warrior sits in a bed or lies in a bed. Maybe they sit up in bed. Like, kind of add some... This will give the opportunity for me to add some dynamic posing for benched characters. And I might end up doing the same thing with some of the NPCs. So this is just the earliest stage of the farmhouse, really, at the hospital. Because if I go into this, like, I could just take one of these points and move it. I could take these points and name them. So if, we come through here and, yeah, it's not in a struct, it's in a map. Let's see here. How did I do this? I haven't looked at this in so long. So, yep. And we'll just say, like, get object name. If this equals, if the object name equals bedside, which none of these do right now. They're all just slot, whatever. If it equals bedside, then I could say something like, I don't have a function for it, but a function that would just say, hey, use this pose, and if it's not, then do something else. Or I guess the more likely thing would be for me to say, can I switch on string? Yeah. I could do a switch statement here and just kind of go through every unique case for each one. Or I can make each one of these a proper object, right? And just kind of give each one some unique code that will say, okay, I have an occupant in me. I'm going to put this pose in my occupant. There's a number of things I could do, but for now, it's literally just a map where I just have these vectors to a boolean, and I just kind of go through. I'm like, all right, are you? Boolean's like, am I empty or not? If I'm empty, yep, I'm valid. Put a dude in me, I'm not empty anymore. And then when I remove it, I just kind of did the opposite. So that's how that works. The monster spawner, obviously, it's not working great. And part of that, part of that's because it's not alone. My battle manager, I think that's what I've called it, my battle manager is what's really handling this, and this is just an object that kind of gets all the warriors in it, and it gets all the monster spawners, and it just manages that. It just says, okay, for each warrior, look at my monsters. Each warrior is going to fight a monster. The monster always loses, but the only real question is, does the warrior get benched or not, injured or not? So you fight the monster. If you get benched, bench the warrior. If not, you just change your numbers here. How many warriors are in field? How many monsters are in field? If monsters survive, destroy some plants. Set your battle report, which is that screen happens at night, which looks bad with the orange text. Spawning warriors works just fine. Spawning monsters is not working, and I don't know why. I suspect it has to do with the fact that I've kind of done some like cheesy things here. Because right now, I just kind of vaguely said, hey, day one, you don't want a monster to already exist. You also don't want a monster to exist after the first time you go to bed. So wait till day 3 to spawn a monster. And then I'd say every day thereafter, number of monsters plus 1. So if it's been 3 days, you spawn 3 monsters. But because they're starting on day 3, subtract that by 2. And I'm not sure why. Oh, I bet you I do know why. I bet you this is actually working. Hold on, I just had a thought. This is not where I need to be. Battle report. I bet you it's. I'm sorry. Do you do anything? That's not what I want. Wow. I don't remember what I named my. There it is, time cycler. this is what controls time. Oh, and music, technically. Um, yeah, I created a C++ music player class. Doesn't do anything, really. I mean, it does. Not much, though. Basically, it exists. It creates this audio component. Kind of fades it in. Lets you change the track, which causes the old music to fade out, new music to fade in. Wait for fade out, begin play. Yeah, yes, it's nothing we couldn't already do with an audio component that I had that existed. Which I don't have here anymore. But anyway, yeah, I was going to look for. See if I have it. I don't remember where I put the. Maybe it's in the player controller. I just don't remember where I put the battle report. Fade to black. Let's see, that all fades in. We're doing it live. I hate that phrase. Okay, but what if I didn't pass out from exhaustion? In text, fade black. Who calls you? This is why you make sure you name things well. You call you. In text. Where does that get set? Who calls you? Go away. Get battle report. Okay. This is where I think things went goofy. Let's see here. If days minus 1. Alright, let's see here. So warriors injured, plants destroyed. Then we give a new line and we say no. Then we pick A or B. So if days minus 1 is less than or equal to 0. That's an interesting decision I made. Oh, we say no monsters. Okay. If it's greater than 0, we say days minus 1. Bet you that fixes it. Yeah, I'm almost guarantee that will fix it. But we'll say 2 monsters will come by 1. Let's just see. See, this is those are magic numbers that should be controlled by a single variable, and I'm not controlling it by a single variable. And that's why I have bugs that I lose track of. So I need to change how I summon monsters. Also, see, I'm saying 0 I just say no monster will come. Okay. But no monster will come. So I think I want one monster to come though. So I need to go back and change those numbers to 1. Anyway. Oh, well, no, 1 monster came. So day 3, 1 monster came. I feel like that didn't happen last time, though. Right? I feel like last time what we saw was... So we should see one monster this time when we go to sleep. So last time we saw it said no monster and one came. So this time we should see it say one monster and one come. One monster will come. So we should see one spawn now. Okay. Weird. Because remember the first time I did this, on this recording, it said a monster would come and one didn't. Right? Am I crazy? No, I know what happened. Okay, I know what happened. The monster tried to spawn here. How do I know that? I know what happened. All right. So, spawn actor. But always spawn. That should have handled it. Anyway, if I guarantee if I said ignore collisions, it would work. Oh, no, it did spawn. I know, okay. Anyway, so it did spawn. It tried to adjust the location. It moved it down here. I guarantee you what happened was it hit this. When it spawned, it was colliding with this right here. And it tried to adjust the location. And it adjusted beneath. If I move this here, it could have also been this one. It could have been colliding with, what is this? The field. It could have also been colliding with the field. There. I will never have that bug again now. Because it's always going to spawn within this area. Yeah, so what happened was it spawned, it collided with an object, and it tried to adjust it, and it adjusted beneath. Alternatively, because I'm fairly certain I'm going to be changing how I spawn things, I could just say ignore collisions. Matter of fact, I might do that anyway, so I don't keep chasing my own tail on this. This has been an hour and 13 minutes of me just kind of talking about the game, talking about the state of play. So I'm going to wrap this up. A couple things I'm going to change. Let me just pull up my list here. Yep, that's Diagnosis screen is overwhelming. Let me widen this. Unified button appearance. Check the input action diagnosis screen. Mentioned that already. Monsters float. Give them gravity. Going to completely refactor the cauldron. NPCs need to use our diagnosis screen. Monsters should be interactable. I'm going to make this a question. I think yes, they need to be interactable, but I don't think they need to have like options associated with them. I think you should just get a little bit of text about like how you feel about monsters. I don't think it should be anything more than that because you're not here for the monsters, you're here for the people. Do we go from 1 monster to 3? I don't think this is true. I think we discovered what was wrong with this. I'm going to do some play testing, and we'll see if I was right about that. We fixed this. I do need to make a music controller object, though. I have an actor, but it still gets dragged into the world, which isn't great. I do need to make it just a controller object. Yeah. See, I need to refactor that entirely. Warriors on field number is wrong. I guess it's when I talk to the warrior Booker. Need a visual for gaining reputation. When you heal someone, they give you rep. We need a better stamina bar. I'm probably going to steal from Zelda for this, frankly. That was a lot of talking. a lot of information. But that is roughly state of play. Matter of fact, in for a penny, in for a pound. Let's just do a playthrough. Let's just... And instead of a play no say, because that's already up, we're just going to do a play and say. So I don't know if you notice, but there is a tiny white dot on screen at all times. And it is approximately accurate to where my interact arrow goes. So, fun fact is a cheat. That white dot doesn't do anything. I just put it where the interact window tends to be, which is why that white dot's not in the center of the screen. It is off-centered a little bit. I'm going to go back and refactor this so that A, the white dot's in the center of the screen, but 2, my interaction is a screen to world space trace instead of what I currently have. So we're going to plant some num root, plant some shit root, plant some sleep leaf. And you can see that my stem emitter drains quickly. It's aggressive right now, but that's because I'm wanting to be able to rapidly test stem emitter reduction. Yeah, we'll go ahead and hire a warrior. Oops, I didn't do it. And I'm pressing B to I could also just do that to cancel the window. Hello, Tal. How nice to meet you. So this is the moment I'm talking about. I'm going to pretend I don't have any plants. Like, cool, it's now night. I've got nothing left to do except go to bed. But I would like to be able to go out into the world and do something, you know? But we're just going to go to sleep. I need to make that screen better. Ooh, my audio didn't change. So it's still playing light music, even though it's day. And look, my monster. See, yeah, that monster definitely collided with that wall before. Cool. So you see, we got my stage 2 plants. They're coming along. I'll go ahead. So another thing I want to do is I haven't talked much about the setting of this world. I actually have literally hundreds of pages of documents talking about this world, its history, its people, its government, its ecology, actually. But it's a post-apocalyptic world. What do I mean by that? Oh, I'm out of rep. The world was destroyed, and now it's being rebuilt. Except now there's monsters and magic. That's the short version of what I mean by that. Plants don't grow easy. There's soil. There's no more real topsoil. You have to make it using magic. So that's what Dr. Farmer does. So at the seed shop, you're going to be able to buy soil, and soil's crazy expensive. So we're going to start off with 9 plots, and then as the player gets better, they're like, man, I need more farmland. I want to buy some more soil. I've got it's replaying music. Alright. We're going to go to bed. Warrior was injured during the battle. Oh shit. I didn't heal my warrior. It's okay. You all aren't supposed to grow at the same time. Unless I changed you. I might have changed you and forgot. It's fine. It's whatever. Plants are just a data sheet. Alright, we're going to make some medicine here. God, it's so bad. I know what I'm doing, and I could barely tell what's going on. Okay, I've made one of everything I can make. So we're going to come over here. Chat with you, diagnose you. You need a decongestion. It's a weird thing to need for an injury. But hey, give me 5 rep for doing that. I'm going to do some healing salve on you. That is a healing salve. Oh, that's a bug. Oh, you're full health. Oh, right. When you heal an injury, you bring it back up to full health. I might want to change that. I think I will. I think I'm going to change that. So I'm pretty sure I've already coded it so that you'll come back into the field. Ooh, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Cool. That should hold them off. And because I know everyone's already injured, I'm about to get a metric fuck ton of rep for doing this. This is cheats activated. Start off with the healing salve and start off with 15 rep. And cool. You need potion. So this is the thing that... Oh, I don't have any potion. No, that's too fucking bad, buddy. You need medicine rep? Oh, wait, I have that. Good job. Let's see here. So we're about to experience the next day coming. And my typical next day stuff isn't gonna transpire. So time of day isn't terribly limited right now, which is kind of crappy. So I do need to go back. I do need to fix my time of day stuff. But I kind of don't want to do that until I go ahead and set up the town and the NPCs that live there. I got 15 rep. Yeah, it's fine. We'll go to bed. Ooh, still ended up with an injured warrior. Interesting. The monster survived. That shouldn't have happened. Pick up my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 monsters. Who was injured? None of y'all look injured. Anyway. No, I'm going to throw another one in there just for good measure. Lots of warriors. And, okay, so I haven't coded you to go back to the field. Unfortunate. Time also feel like moves too quickly. Which, I know, is a weird thing to say considering the problem I felt like I have with not having anything to do. We haven't seen that here, but I also started off with healing salve. So I can just, like, go ahead and protect these people. And I'm pressing the B button to get through this. Matter of fact, I can show you what I mean by... I hit A. So I go over to X and I hit A. That's that input action causing that. I have to hit B to actually cancel that menu. It's super frustrating. I hate that. It's frustrating because I didn't know it was a thing until God, I don't know how I figured it out. I think I ended up making a menu without input actions. I think that's what I did. So I rebuilt menus one step at a time and just testing one step at a time. Nothing worked until one day it did. And I was like, okay, what's the difference here? And input actions was the difference. Boy, I'm getting sick of this track. I'm spending a lot of time doing the same thing over and over. But time moves so quickly. I need to slow it down. And that's another problem, actually, is right now my clock is in time with my time of day. But if I speed up my time, and it's one variable controlling the passage of time, both with the skybox and both with the skybox and the clock. But for whatever reason, if I speed it up, they get out of sync, which means my math is bad. My math only works one way, so I need to make that better and different, and I need to have one drive the other instead of what is happening now. All right, we're gonna go to bed. A monster survives still. I wonder why a monster keeps surviving. So according to this, I should see 7 monsters in the morning. 1, oh my god, I think it's 2 on top of each other. Yeah. So it's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 monsters. So again, I really need to refactor my monster spawning. It's not good. The information I'm giving the player is different from what is happening. All my monsters aren't dying. My injured warriors aren't coming back. Does anyone... I can't remember if I've actually implemented level up or not. So we're going to let some folks get hurt. Oh, it's just one warrior was injured because one warrior has been injured. So I should change my wording here. Boop, just pick up all those seeds. Ooh, look at this. You're supposed to be benched. But you're not. Interesting. Oh, but you are. Also interesting. Let's see if I can actually... Man, you also need... You go make some. Piss. See, that's also just kind of not working. All these bugs. Okay. Cool. Let's see if I can promote you. Promote Jaw from level 1 to level 2. Interesting. It says reputation twice. I wonder why. More monsters will fall. Cool. He's now level 2. It says level 1, but he's level 2. I wonder if that's accurate. Yeah, see, there you go. Level 2. I just didn't update his little card. Alright. That's enough of that. You can... Ooh, I have errors. Oh. If I turn the game off while I have a menu open up, I get this error. And what's funny is that any other time you get an error, you normally get a link to the offending blueprint. Doesn't tell me shit. Like set input mode game only. That's in so many pieces of code. That's in so many blueprints. I don't know which one to look for. But it's also only an error that occurs when I escape while the menu is open. Anyway, this has been an hour and a half. You actually watched all this. Thank you so much. Hopefully my next video will be more brief.